Alright, welcome to the Tupolev 134 from Churchella Design Group. I'm going to do a little quick start video here and kind of an overview of the aircraft. I'm too busy these days. I can't really find the time to actually get up in the air and do all the briefings and stuff that I force upon myself for that. Um, some people they can get in and go, but I'm kind of just I don't have time for it. So enough of that backstory. We're just on the ramp at Pulkovo here in not Pulkovo, sorry. Yeah, St. Petersburg. For Pulkovo Aviation here. There's a weird visual bug with the ramp. I don't know what that's about, but I'm just going to sort of go over the logic of the aircraft, the cockpit layout, give you some handy documentation there, and hopefully that'll help you out because I don't really have the time to get it up in the air. I've done a handful of flights in the Churchella, though. It's really fun. It's a sweet little aircraft, and I highly recommend you watch this and some other videos as well for flying the aircraft. But basically, it's a four-crew airliner like the 154. You've got your captain, first officer, your navigator down here in this hole, basically, and you could call him a flight engineer, operating these two panels pretty much. Um, but I've seen it being operated in a three-crew configuration. But there's probably only going to be one of you flying this plane, so um, I recommend brushing up on it before you take it out. But the basic layout is this: on the overhead panel, all this top stuff here. Some stuff on this side here is your aircraft systems, much like your 154. You still have manual control over the aircraft systems, and some other stuff like you got fuel pumps here, landing lights, taxi lights, extending the lights. You've got probe heats here and window heats for each side on either side of the panel. That's a really weird design. Your brake accumulator hydraulics are this one, and you've got an electric pump here, which isn't going to work actually. That's just a basic overview. I'm going to link a manual for the SCS 134, I think. It's one of the ones for FS 2004, and it's got the same layout as the Churchella design. So that's going to really help you out. I'll actually show it to you here briefly. I'll show you the section for the overhead. I mean, check this out. It's basically the same overhead here, and then look, what are you looking for? Brake accumulator 14 here, hydraulic accumulator charge button. You got your fuel cutoffs here, flight control fuel system. This is going to teach you everything. I can't remember what 60. Oh no, actually that's your anti-ice. Sorry, because you will forget some stuff. If you're not like a Russian speaker. So that's a really good reference to have. I highly recommend. I still fly with it. But yeah, transponders up here. You've got pressurization switches. This is like your master bleed air switches in the 154. Pressurize, depressurize the camp, and it basically just automatically takes the engine bleed air or shuts the bleed air off and automatically pressurizes. You've got cooling and ventilation for the APU here. No, this is your APU cooling and engine and APU cooling. That's your door for it. But yeah, that's basically the overhead. Just a quick rundown. You got flaps, stabilizer here, much like the 154. You're going to want it on 1.5 for takeoff and to the blue band for landing, which could be 3 or whatever. So yeah, and you've got your basic layout here of your HSI. We have the gust lock on. Actually, your gust lock is this yellow one here. We'll bring the yokes back. Take that out. This is going to show you what autopilot modes you have active. The autopilot's going to be a real doozy to get into. Might as well just get it over with now. You've got your roll and pitch channels here, your preparation switch. You're going to want this on. This is kind of like your master switch, actually. You want to flip it. It's hard to explain, but you've got vertical modes here and lateral modes here. So you go like that for heading, and you go like that to follow either the GPS or the VOR. Now you want it on COBM 1 or 2 for VOR 1 and 2, and CN 50 for VOR. So if I go like this and press this, it's going to track the VOR, or sorry, the GPS. And if I go to 1 or 2, it's going to track the VOR. And then I can go bring it over here and press this for to track heading. There's a couple other videos that explain the autopilot a little bit better, but that's just a quick little rundown there. And then if you want it, you can go like this, get it to track VOR1, and then this button should give you your glide slope. And your vertical wheel here is going to, its neutral position is going to be at whatever pitch you turn the autopilot on. So it might be at 0 here, but when I'm on the climb out and I turn it on, its neutral position is going to be nose up. But as long as your stab trim is set correctly, and what I do is this is your mechanical pitch trim here, I'll turn this wheel all the way to pitch full nose down after engaging the autopilot, and that usually gives your wheel enough authority for climbs and descents. It's a really weird system where the trim kind of just overrides the autopilot's authority, so you want to have this trimmed fully down, I'd recommend. This is for like a normal CG, and we'll get into loading the aircraft after we go through the panel layouts. Fuel gauges here for 1, 2, and 3. It's different, I guess, tanks, and this fuel balance is important, so you want to keep an eye on that. And you can actually set your fuel totalizers here. Pressurization stuff, static air temperature pressurization for the differential pressure in the cabin altitude and your cabin rate. And this will indicate whether or not you have bleed air if you open these switches up top here. So yeah, comms here, these are the same as the 154, so you can recognize which one's COM 1 and 2 and your markers and whatever. I don't actually know what these switches do, these 5 here, and they aren't listed in the SCS manual, but you are going to want those on for your start flow, which we'll do as well in a bit. And this is your APU as well. Alright, we'll actually get into starting the aircraft here as we list out the cockpit things. Cockpit items, whatever. Batteries 1 and 2 can come on. We'll need to redirect power to the generators. We can turn on our 1500 inverter as well. We can turn our nav light on. That's AHO, and this is your beacon here. We should actually have lighting, which we don't. Am I sure that I got the right one? No. We probably just need APU power, which I'll show you. We need this fuel pump on, these 2 lights here, and turn our master and door switches on. Wait for the green light and then start it. It's pretty imperative that you start this with literally no systems on. If you thought the 154 was bad for that, this is really bad. You want 0 systems on. I don't know what this switch does. I know these 2 are for your captains and first officers' HSIs. You're going to want those on after engine start, but not right now, but after engine start. These are very easy to miss, but those are going to power your HSIs, which you'll need to align your compasses, which I'll show you as well. It's the same logic as the 154. And yeah, I'm going pretty quickly here. It's not perfect for sure, but hopefully if you use this in tandem with some other videos, it'll help you out. So it's active now. We can turn on our APU bleed and our APU fire protection switch, I believe is this one here, the NB50 and whatever. And we can come down here and it's basically bottom for ground power, top for APU. Now the APU is coming on. We can double check it there. Beautiful, beautiful. I believe, yeah, that's all we need. And we can leave everything off for now. So yeah, with the 134, it needs literally nothing on for your APU. What we can do actually is turn on our standby hydraulic pump. You'll hear that in the background. COM 1 and 2, that's for your nose wheel steering. I believe, yeah, that's your fan. Spoilers can go to the stowed. This turns off the hydraulics for the spoilers, and going to the bottom position extends them, but we want them just down for now. That's for your auto throttle as well, up and down for the speed. Our cutoff levers we can actually turn on for now. Turn these switches on. So there are some things you can get away with turning on, but it's very, very minimal. Basically we're going to go straight for engine start, and then we're going to, you'd brief now and do what you can and then start up the engines. They need a warm-up period anyway. It's just, this is how they do it in Russia. So we can turn our beacon light on. The rest of our fuel pumps on, and our automatic tank balancers. This is our engine fire detection. We can turn that on. These are going to be our cutoff levers, which we can turn on as well. So fuel can now flow freely. Flight control fuel system. We can leave that off for now, actually. Window heats as well. A lot of hydraulic stuff up here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And watch, we can just fire it up right now on stand. Our start panel's here. Select either engine. Select engine, the left engine, and the ignition system can turn on, and we can press this button. And with any luck, our APU shouldn't fluctuate at all. I don't think if you're set up correctly. Now, because our engine gauges aren't on, it's just gonna, I believe what it's gonna do is just like blink and then go straight to 60%. Scratch that, I forgot to take off the engine covers and our chocks. But you can actually see it is rotating there, I believe. There we go. Now it's clicked up to 60% there. And we can do the same for the other engine. APU still doing fine. There we go. And because we already have the fuel cutoff levers open and the fuel cutoff switches open, it should just, I think the standard procedure is to hot start this, as a matter of fact. And we can shut that now. I think we can, yeah, we can leave it like this. Actually, we're going to reset it there. Alright, now that our engines are on, we can turn on our generators and our 4500 inverter and the stabilizer, I believe. That is for the generators, and we can turn this off now. And now we can turn off with the stop button here, the APU. We'll wait for that to just shut down, and then we can close these two switches here, but we might as well just do it now, because whatever, who's counting. Now we can turn on all our switches here. These are some aircraft systems, but some of them are instruments, some of them are automation, but they all need to go on either way, so whatever. We can just flip through that, don't really need to explain it. Flight control recorder can come on here, and I'll show you how to align our compasses. Actually, we can turn this, so our ADF radios can come on. For the GPS, it's this mystical switch up here, this invisible one. That's going to turn it on, and then we can fire it up here. Your Garmin 430, that's going to be really handy. For the transponder, to turn it on, you need to really be in the captain's seat for the switch to the click spot to work, but CO63 turns it on. We'll set 2000, but basically, yeah, these are your numbers here, and we can set mode C since we're started up on stand here. We might as well pressurize the cabin here. We can open up our bleed air valves, and you'll see we should, at least, maybe not yet. No, I think it's these two here. Now this should work. Okay, never mind. I guess we don't have bleed pressure just yet. We'll come back to that. Engine vibration masters, those can come on. Those I think you actually want before engine start. We can turn probe and window heat to low here. No anti-ice since we're not really taking off, so whatever. We could turn our We don't need to turn our taxi lights on, but we could extend the lights for when we need them. Yeah. The rest of these systems here can come on as well. That's nose wheel steering 55 degrees. So this switch and this switch here is your nose wheel steering. You'll want that off for takeoff. This is your hydraulics and your brake accumulator. Now for engines on, you'll want this switch down, and it should be, yeah, it's pressurizing this system here. This is one that I couldn't figure out for a bit, and then this one pressurizes that system, and then these two are actually your brake accumulator. And so once these are done pressurizing, we'll do the brake accumulator here. I believe, yeah, all these can come on. These are all okay to come on. Flight control fuel system as well. This is your trim cut off, so we're not going to need that. Alright, let's try for the accumulator here. I think we might want it here. No, we don't want. Okay, so we want this one off here. And yeah, you can turn like your hydraulics on and off here. So once they're done extending, you can move these to the neutral position. Yeah, I'm not sure why the brake accumulator isn't pressurizing. That should do the trick. Maybe our gauges aren't working. Anyways, we can turn on this and our HSIs as well. You can actually, I guess, hear the motors for the compass running in the background there, which is kind of neat. Auto throttle prepare is this button, though we're not going to need it. We can turn our roll and pitch channels and our autopilot prepare. That'll light up the displays here. And I think actually, if I go like this, no, it needs to be engaged first, but you get your parameters showing up here. And to know that the autopilot is tracking the GPS, it's this AP ANU here down here, and then you've got VOR, ATs, your auto throttle, and I think 3K is heading mode. If you want to verify, that your parameters are actually active. So the lateral coordinates for Pulkovo I think are 55. I'm pretty sure. So it's really simple. You've just got your adjust here. It works kind of funny to where you kind of just want to get it to a point where it's not like twitching. This compass here, you can see that's moving. You don't want it twitching, you want it just regular. And sometimes that means having it on magnetic, sometimes that means DG. You can see it's kind of twitching there. But if you put it on DG, it stabilizes, which is kind of weird. And then you do this and it twitches, and then as long as you're getting like roughly the heading you want, it's usually set up pretty well. Like I can see here we're between 2.7 and 3, and I see between 2.7 and 3 here, so that's probably okay. So boom, compasses are aligned. We can verify we have 2.7 on our RMI and our HSI here. It's a little bit easier actually than the 154, I think, for aligning the compasses and for aligning our attitude indicators as well. You just press that button to decage it. Though honestly, I prefer using the one up top here because it's just way easier to read than this one here. So yeah, these take a while to do. I'll only do one for now, but that's how you do it. It's literally just that button on the bottom too. Maybe this, no, you have to hold it down. So yeah, I got better things to do than do that. So yeah, I'm pretty stumped on the brake accumulator here. It looks like this one's automatically pressurized. And oh, now we can do it. Okay. It must have needed to, I guess, pre-pressurize that system. I don't have all the answers here, honestly. I really don't. So there we go. Now we're set up. So we got bleed air, and we got we got fuel, we got batteries are charging and everything. We're pretty well set up. Usually you'd want like flaps 15 for a departure here, which we can set here. And what I've done is I've just mapped a button on my side tech for the stab trim because I couldn't really find it in the cockpit. I think it's just stab trim up and down. And this is mechanical, so you can literally just set it to 1.5 and it'll run away from you there a bit. And I'd recommend just neutral trim for takeoff as well. That's usually well, and then you just get her kind of set up on the climb out there. So yeah, I don't think we can engage the channels. We might be able to actually. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's see if we can engage. Okay, so that's your heading hold. That's no. That's your heading hold, and then this should be. This should engage GPS following. If we had a route plugged in, let me try and plug in a route here. I just want to see if I can demonstrate this to the viewer without like actually getting up into the plane here. If I go procedures and departure and I just select, let's say the tour. What did I take? The tour 1 Charlie, I think it was. Yeah. So theoretically, this should engage it once you're up there. This KYPC with the switch on the right side should engage it. And this is the 3K is the heading here. So if I turn it here, like you'll see the flight director is going to move from either side. But we are actually having the GPS displayed on the HSI. Like you can see this, you know. So, and it's the same thing if I tuned like the Pulkovo VOR here. Let's see here, 113.4, which is here by the way. And you're gonna want to set these course knobs as well for if you're gonna fly like, you know, your ILS. But let's just set a random course like 295. And we should see it here if we switch to COBM 1. At least I think. We do have a HA here, so that's showing that it is active. And you can switch from either reciprocal as well. But yeah, so basically, you know, GPS and then VOR 1 and 2 here. See if we can pressurize it now, maybe. Still doesn't seem to want to take the bleed air. I know that what I've seen is people will flip those switches after takeoff. That seems to be the norm, but I just feel more comfortable pressurizing it on the ground, which usually works for the flights I do. Also, you can pull this out for AviTab, but it's kind of in a weird spot. I couldn't see why you'd want to use it. Yeah, she's pretty much fired up. So the autopilot on this aircraft is pretty primitive, judging by its, as you can judge it kind of by the way it looks. It's just pretty bad. Oh, also this is your altitude hold, the orange button there, and this is to engage it. And you've got a turn coordinator here for if you've just got to make a quick like adjustment to your base leg or something. I don't know, your downwind, whatever the case. These are both metric altimeters here, but you've got one in feet here, so you're pretty much okay there for that. And you've got another one by the navigator, as you probably saw. But it's not that clever. It can't really fly an ILS worth a damn, unfortunately. So I wouldn't really fly this into IMC. You know, it might be rated down to a certain altitude, but honestly, I'd only fly this thing on clear days. Like it's sketchy, man. You got to be really seasoned, I think, to understand how this stupid thing works, because it's Like it's kind of an afterthought, really. It's not the greatest system. That must be like a go-around function or something. Or no, I'm pretty sure that's your glide slope. I'm pretty sure at least. And I can't really think of much else to talk about here. Yeah, you've got your throttles. You want, I don't know, 95%, then 92 for takeoff. Oh, loading this aircraft actually as well. It's a click spot here, this little screw. You want to keep your CG within, I'd say even less than that. I'd say between like 27 and 31 if you can help it. If you want to load fuel, just hold this down basically until you get the number you want. This is in kilograms. Um, so I don't know if we want like 3,000, we'll leave it like that. And whatever gross weight SimBrief gives you for the aircraft, it's 134 profile, I'd subtract like 20%. Like if they give you a gross weight of 46,000 kilograms, make it like 36 or 38 just to be safe, because I've noticed it kind of overestimates it. You've got your front cargo loading here, which you can just kind of pitter patter around with there, and then you have to load each seat like individually. It's pretty gorilla. But like, let's say we're happy with that load, 30% CG Mac with 37,000 kilograms gross weight. You just click this button and that'll check it off, and automatically you'll get, you know, the amount of fuel in the tanks that you want. So like this one, we've only got these center wings here, so we're only seeing that, and then you've got like a total here. So yeah, and then you've got your X, so that little click spot there is what you need. Other onboard stuff, you've got your ground, obviously, that you saw. A little pop-up for using the NAS, Dead Reckoning Autonomous Navigation System. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. I don't know how it works. I'm not really planning on using it. We've got a little pop-up for like a Bendix King weather radar. The X First Officer is really neat. It's kind of like your flight engineer in your PMDG DC6. It'll show you some stuff here. It'll run some things. I haven't used it though. It's pretty straight up. Yeah, this checklist as well is really handy. I got this from another video. I'm going to include that as well. Basically, these two have been my best friends. The checklist and the manual for the SCS 134. All these panels are mapped out, and you also have performance data tables as well. Anything from fuel planning, which I'm not really using because I have SimBrief, to the useful ones, which are things like V speeds here. They're kind of gorilla, but like I said, we had 37,000 pounds. All right, we'll go in the middle here. So our VR would be about 240 kilometers per hour, 245, and then our V2, let's say V2 plus 15, I don't know, 265, and then boom, you're good. You don't have to get it super accurately, obviously, but yeah, those two documents have been really handy, and they're a must-have, I think, for flying this plane as a English-speaking person. So yeah, you got COM 1 here, and COM 2. Have I found COM 2 on this? Don't think I have. This might be your COM 2. But you can switch with it, obviously, as I said in the first officer, but as well as here, your audio panel. It's a little bit weird with VPilot, Xpilot. It doesn't work that well with Xpilot if you fly on VATSIM, where it recognizes both these COM panels. So I have it on COM 1 here, but on my first officer's side it's on COM 2. It'll be receiving and talking on COM 1, but receiving on COM 2. But if I move it to COM 1, then it's only receiving and talking on COM 1. COM 2 is dead. So you need to move both to switch frequencies, which is another really weird bug, unless you want to continuously listen to COM 2. But that's going to have like your previous or future frequency on it, and people are just going to step over, and that's no good. Yeah. So that's about it. I'm running out of things. It's just a basic rundown and overview. Nothing fancy. Just trying to relay what I've learned. Try and save a guy maybe an extra couple hours of learning by doing a quick, I don't know, half hour, 45-minute video I think it's about a half hour here. Yeah, without taking too much time here because I'm staying on the ramp here. So yeah, it's kind of a fun little guerrilla plane. I wouldn't fly it too often, but I've had fun doing a couple sectors in it around Russia and into Europe as well. So yeah, it's a cool little thing to have in your fleet, and once you get used to the cockpit layout, uh, and once you get past the startup flows and everything, actually getting up in the air and then landing it on a good day is pretty nice. It's pretty fun. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed watching my little startup video on this plane. Sorry I couldn't take it up in the air, but I'm just too darn busy. So yeah, nonetheless, hopefully this benefited you in some way. Uh, I just had a really tough time sort of getting my bearings to learn this plane to take it up, so I thought I'd just relay some information in a quick little short form kind of thing. For anyone, if they couldn't find something they were looking for, and this has something, it's kind of why I'm putting out these videos, putting out anything that I feel like hasn't been covered that much, and you know, like looking for a gap to fill in the market, basically. So I'm not just rehashing the same stuff that everyone else is doing that you find a lot on social media these days. So I don't know. Anyways, safe flying. Hopefully you enjoy the Churchella Tu-134A. I know I have. It's pretty cool. Probably not going to be flying it that much anymore for a bit. I need a break, but it's cool. It's a cool plane. Nonetheless, everyone should give it a shot. Try and learn it. Take an hour or two out of your day. Check it out. Anyways, bye bye now.